So it's starting to look like the planetary stations of Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter, but especially Pluto and Saturn, are going to be most important in terms of the pandemic situation turning around in some way. Pluto stationed recently, a couple of days ago, and is now in retrograde motion, and you can see that you have to go all the way back to March 19th or so to see a full minute of motion, and then in the other direction it'll be early June before that happens. In the case of Saturn, because it moves faster, you see that currently it's still moving about a minute, and then it's going to be in the other direction. It'll be in late May. My guess is that these stations are giving us the astrologic, and it probably lines up with world logic in that a lot of experts predict that it be early June or so when we might get some semblance of normalcy. And when we look at what these planets mean, some of it makes sense. Saturn is the measuring planet, so when you're looking for an assignment to testing, it's definitely Saturn. And it's pretty clear that the problem with the pandemic in the US especially is a lack of robust testing, because if we had better testing, then people would feel safer, employers would feel safer, everything would be so much better. However, that has not happened, and what can happen with a planet is when it reaches a retrograde point and goes the other way, the period close to the station, which is what we're in now, we're getting in that range, is when the topic really intensifies, and then when it goes retrograde, it's an opportunity to go over something that should have been done before. And so my guess here is that from mid-May until the end of June would be a really fruitful period to produce tons of tests and really start to get some serious data that would help both employers and their employees. And so that would be incredibly helpful toward getting the economy rolling again. And the June date, it looks like another correlation with, some have said about 3 months is the period when pandemics are most intense in any given area, which would mean March, April, and May. And so that's probably a good guess. Now, of course, there is a station here of Neptune that happens near the solstice. And one problem is that the US has a planet directly in line with this. So Neptune could complicate the situation and perhaps extend it. But I'm going to be optimistic here and hope that by early June we're in a better place. The numbers have not improved as per what the experts have been saying. I was hoping that the Pluto station, which was on the 25th, 26th, and then there were these 2 days with lower fatality numbers for the US, that would continue, but it didn't. We're back up again. The infection numbers are still pretty high. They're better than in here, but not substantially better. These numbers have to drop a lot. And keep in mind that a couple of things. We're at about 2,000 per day on average in April. That's 60,000 just for the month of April. And they were talking about 60,000 in total. So that's definitely wrong. It's too optimistic. And then, as I said in a prior video, the US is not doing well at all, because these are the world numbers, and the US at 4.2% of the world population is carrying 33%, like a third of the world infections, and 27+%, so more than a quarter of the world fatalities. This is crazy. It's completely crazy. And I have to blame our administration, for this, because not only were they slow to act in the early part of this, but then they refused to get on board with good measuring techniques, good measuring tools, so that we could all get a better sense of safety. So I pray that as we go toward this mid-May period, this topic will really intensify and that we'll get serious, so that we can make some serious headway, instead of treading water the way we have been for the last while. Let's hope.